Welcome to the deep dive of the new map Back Alley Sewers that arrived in the recent 1.1 patch. It is the underground area from the map The Back Alleys, and while it's a fairly small map, there are more than enough water hazards to enjoy. It's time to launch some Orcs, War Mages. I'm going to cover a few different topics in this video, so check the time codes on the screen and in the description if there's a specific thing you want to watch. Let's get started. Starting on the north side of the map and headed clockwise, first we have two gates that open on wave 1 that are almost immediately connected by two low bridges that are surrounded by water hazards. We can then head south along the eastern straightaway. That leads us to a side alley and gate that opens up on wave 3. In the other direction we have the rift room, which is pretty open and has two sentinel archers we can purchase. In the back of that room there are two staircases that lead to the southern gate, which opens up on wave 4. Heading back down the other staircase, we can then go down the western straightaway, which dead ends into a lower area that is not a hazard, but there is a staircase leading right back up to where we started. The goal for this first barricade setup is to route the enemies from the south gate and east gate up along this right straightaway, where they'll meet up with the enemies from the north gates, and then they'll come back down along this left straightaway, where we'll set up a bunch of traps and try to kill them before they make it to the rift. So the first thing we need to do is block off the direct path from the south gate directly to the rift. We can come back down and connect the south gate up to the east gate, and that will force them all forward. And you can now see everyone is coming along this left straightaway. That will work perfectly. And if you have 16 barricades only, if you're playing four-player multiplayer, you'll have 5 more barricades to do what you want with. There's a few things you could do, such as blocking off this to force the left gate here across that first path and then back across this path. Or you could put it along, let's say, this bridge, which will force all those guys from the east and south gates to come across this bridge, along with the northeast gate enemies. And whichever way you want should work. You'll probably want to use a lot of physics traps. There's a lot of hazards on this level. I have an idea for a kill box though, so let's go ahead and jump into looking at that. With my remaining 5 barricades, I blocked off this so they have to go around further, and then I blocked off most of this so they all line up here for this tar where we have some bomb dispensers pointing, and we also have a shock zapper right above. Then we have ceiling lasers and shock zappers all the way down, and tar to just try to keep them as slow as possible as they go through here. Then I have a few bomb dispensers on the wall because there just isn't a lot of really good way to use this wall when the enemies are several blocks away, and bomb dispenser is one way to do that. So let's see how this build goes. Overall in this run I died twice and leaked 1 Cyclops Druid. It's not too bad for a mission 1 on difficulty 10, and I partly blame the distortion that stopped health potions from dropping. The strategy worked fairly well solo, and with a couple teammates it would have been a cakewalk. The goal with the second barricade setup is to use the southern hallway as the kill box, right next to the south gate here. So in order to route all the enemies down there, first we'll need a wall to route the enemies up into that hallway. We can do that like this. And we need to block off this other entrance so they can't just simply walk to the rift. And now everybody will walk up to the hallway on the side of the south gate. Now, if you only have 16 barricades total, we'll have 5 left, which probably means you'll want to bring rift barricades because 16 is just not very many barricades. Whoops. But if you have a few extra barricades, or if you have rift barricades, then you can put down some extra barricades like this, route them down and back. And what we give up in ceiling space on this area, because the ceiling is kind of patchwork here, a lot of spots we can't use, we do get full access to wall traps, which we don't really have access to with the other, with the first barricade setup. So let's look at what a kill box might look like. For this setup, I have tar, spike traps, and rift barricades for the floors, push traps and wall blades for the walls, and shock zappers, haymakers, and an ice lance for the ceiling. There's still quite a bit of space that I have left to fill in, but the Rift Barricades allowed me to do much more intensive mazing, as well as buff up all the spike traps. So let's give this a go and see how it fills up over the course of the run. Maybe it's because this is a shorter range kill box which plays to Harlow's strengths, but I was able to finish this map with no deaths and no leaks. In fact, I don't think anyone was even close to making it through the room all the way. So if you're struggling with the first setup, I definitely suggest you give this one a try. Also, as always, I have links to both full runs in the description if you want to see exactly how the runs went. Starting in the northwest corner of the map and going clockwise, first we have a chest in the small pit. Next there is one on the path next to the top of the stairs down to the pit. Then opposite those two there is a chest in the small side alley. By the third gate there is one in the nook with the sewer grate. In the nook next to that with the pipes is another possible spawn. Heading up the east stairs to the sentinel balcony there is a chest on the midway landing. And then there is another at the top of the stairs inside of a destructible box. Finally, opposite those on the western stairs there's a chest on the midway landing. And again there's also one at the top landing. Thank you for watching this deep dive video. If you know any information or strategies that you think I should have included, tell me in the comments. Also let me know which maps you'd like to see a video for next. Later, War Mages.